and welcome to beltingbeauties.com. Today I'm here with Stephen.
Hello.
And also Madeline.
Hi.
Stephen has developed a great program called the Fearless Audition. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. The Fearless Audition was coined by my friend Nancy Hillman. She said to me about 15 years ago, she says, you do really well with coaching people and do stuff that everybody does in New York. Why don't we take your seminar and bring it to Washington State and do it for the weekend? And I did, and I've been doing it on and off for about 15 years.
Excellent. And how do you know Madeline?
Madeline is a student of mine from like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's it.
No.
No, about a year ago.
Where
Yes.
Steve teaches,
Right.
and so he was in my first semester class.
One problem that people always have trouble with is going into the room and setting the tempo for their songs. I feel like when I go into an audition room, the minute I go in the room, I'm trying to get out of there as soon as possible. And I think I give a tempo that's always too fast as a result of that. Do you think that's a common trend?
That is definitely a common trend. If you give your tempo right away, it's inevitably going to be too fast or even too slow because you don't give yourself that time to. So I tell people to say, would you like my tempo? And once they say that, and then I tell them to take a second. Okay, it goes like this. Da, 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 da. Just that little second, I think, gives them that moment to just focus and center.
So I enter the studio for my audition, and there's the pianist or accompanist, and I hand them my sheet music, and how do I give them my tempo? Do I give them some snaps?
Absolutely. I think
clap it out?
I think you should do both. I think
maybe just play it for them?
I think you should do, yes. I think all of that, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. It depends on where you're at. You definitely want to give the tempo as quickly as you can, but you've got to think about the tempo for a second so it doesn't get too fast or too slow. Because if you do what I'm doing now, if you talk right away, you're going to not be in control of the tempo, I think. But then you basically give a section of the song that indicates the best place of the tempo. In other words, the piece that really lands that movement. So if you're singing Oklahoma, Oklahoma's melody has a long sustained melody at the beginning. Right. The accompaniment has a has a bass that sort of is a walking bass. Okay. You could give your tempo by from the beginning by singing a little bit of that accompaniment, or you can say, I'd like to take my tempo from the bridge, which is "and the waving wheat." So you can say, okay, my tempo is from the bridge, and the waving wheat. Thank you so much. And that's it. That's all you need, a little bit of that. Right, Madeline?
Yeah.
That's how I would give the tempo. And you don't have to do it too loud. It's just between you and the accompanist. And you can give a little bit of movement if it's something that's more rhythmic, depending on the feel of the piece. But the point is you want to engage the accompanist and make sure that you guys are on the same page as fast as you can without being intrusive.
What's the best way to sync up when you're going to start with the accompanist? Do you think it's just a good old head nod?
Some people feel like saying, when I catch your eye, you start. So the communication with the pianist is twofold. It's what is the cue and what does the pianist. What do you do, what do I do? So if they're saying, when I catch your eye, you can start at this measure, please. Some people don't like the idea of catching your eye because it takes you out of the moment for the actor. So some actors don't like that. Sometimes they do it when I raise my head. It could be any cue. So it varies on the person, on the song, on what they're used to. As long as they communicate what it is and when do I start.
Now, I think it can be tricky for the performer as well, gauging the room and when to actually start. Do you think that the performer should wait for a head nod from someone behind the table, that they're ready for you? Sometimes they're passing around headshots and it gets complicated, and there's nothing worse for me than feeling like they're not ready for you to perform. I only get 16 bars and I've missed my chance to maybe really share the full 16 bars and an arc with them.
Yeah. If they're going in a call, you tell me if this is true, Mel, that you'll be waiting outside. You'll come in and they say, "Okay, what are you doing?" And you usually slate it.
Right.
I think the actor probably needs to judge the atmosphere in the room and what's going on, and then they make that communication. So they would usually, in my experience in playing auditions, is that we have Madeline now. They'll come in, they do their piano spiel, the tempo and the cue. And then they walk over, and then they judge the room. Hi, I'm Madeline. Or they may just judge it, and see what's happening. Judge and wait a second just to see, even though they may be ready, just to give them that moment.
Yes.
So, yeah.